Today I want to talk about goal setting and how it relates to comics. Now, if you're a cartoonist or an illustrator or an artist, one of your personal goals is usually to get better or to improve. And that's kind of a unattainable goal. You can't really measure it. You can't really put a fork in it. Hey, I'm done. I've gotten better. This is my better. Because every time you reach what you think is better, you kind of move that goalpost a little bit further to get even better. So in terms of feelings of accomplishment, the getting better goal isn't necessarily the best. It's kind of a thing that kind of kicks you in the ass and makes you motivated to do better and to keep pursuing this unattainable thing. So we want to talk about goals that we can attain. We want to talk about goals that we can achieve. And to do that, sometimes it helps to build a framework around those goals. And so there's a concept in leadership development and project management called SMART goals. And each of the letters in SMART pertains to a different strategy that we can use to create a goal. When we combine all of those words like Voltron, you can form an awesome goal. There's also SMARTer goals, where the last two letters kind of cap it off and stuff, but we'll get to that. So, SMART goals, S stands for, and there are different words for these depending on who you talk to, but I'm just going to give you the general basics. So, S is specific, M, measurable, A, attainable, R, relevant, T, timetable. And if you're going SMARTer, the E is for evaluate, and R is for reevaluate, but we won't deal with that bullshit because we'll just deal with the SMART part. All right, so let's get into specifics. Let's do like a case study. All right, so S is a specific goal. So the whole getting better thing doesn't work because it's not specific. You don't have like a thing you can measure. It's not something that is concrete, that's actual. So for cartoonists, let's say, let's take a real example. I want to publish a book of my comics. And that's a specific thing that you can actually attain. This is something that, you can hold it in your hand at the end of the day. It's an actualized, specific, published goal. So that's our thing. Measurable. Of course it's measurable. You measure it by did you or did you not publish a book of your stuff. And I guess in the world of publishing, it can take multiple forms. It can take the form of a dead tree, or it can be like a PDF or a digital thing. So we'll say, we'll get even more specific. We want an actual physical printed dead tree copy of our book, 120 pages, black and white, square, perfect bound. We want that. So that's measurable. It's very specific. Is this attainable? How do we go about getting a published book? And this is where we sit down and figure out what it takes to get a published book. Like, how many pages? I say I want it to be 120 pages, but what does that mean? What goes into the pages? Do I have a front? Do I have a back cover? Do I have ancillary materials? Do I have like an intro? Do I have like a description of the comic? Do I have all this kind of stuff? So that's where you sit down and you kind of map out all of the things that you think you want in your book. The dimensions of the thing. How much is it going to cost? These are the things that go into that attainable, the A thing. R, relevance. So are these things relevant to the furthering of your goal, to what you want to accomplish as an artist? Are these things, like, is publishing a book, is that really the best way for you to achieve your cartooning goals? And if the answer is yes, then you keep going. But this is where you kind of look over your project and you think to yourself, and you think really hard, because publishing a physical copy of a book isn't necessarily going to be the best thing for your comic. Some comics don't lend themselves well to a printed collection. They just don't. Some comics are perfect for print. Like if you're doing like a serialized graphic novel style comic, your shit is begging to be printed in a book. Of course, getting a book is relevant. So this is a relevant goal for you to work around. If it's a gag a day, if you do a lot of gags on other people's property, other intellectual properties, maybe a printed collection isn't the best way to spend your time, because you have to deal with copyright issues or parody issues, and maybe you don't want to deal with the potential legal hassle. So maybe a print collection isn't the way to go. So you go back and you create another goal, another specific goal, measurable, attainable. And when you get to the relevant part, that's when you say, okay, maybe this is better for me. Maybe this, whatever the new project is, speaks better towards my personal goals, what I want to achieve with my comic. And then T is timetable. And for cartoonists, that is really difficult because, as an artist, you always want to do the best that you can, and oftentimes that means spending more time on a piece than you normally would. So when you're setting a timetable, it's best to start from the end and work backwards. So let's say your goal is to put out a printed version of your comic, and you have a convention coming up. So you want to think a couple of months out beforehand, because it's going to take a couple of months to get all the pages in, the digital pages in, the corrections back, that kind of thing. So you want to start with the end goal in mind. Like, let's say you have a big comic book convention coming up, and you know that you want to have the books in at least 2, 3, probably a month ahead of time. You want the delivery date to be a month ahead of time before that convention. And then you work backwards. You say, how long is it going to take to get these files to the printer? And that's when you call up the potential printer and you say, what does your timetables look like? How long do I have to take to get you the final files, all that stuff, and you work that into your timeline. So let's say you've got a con here, you want them delivered a month beforehand, and it's going to take maybe 4 months for the entire printing process to go through, including like revisions, getting comps, that kind of stuff. So you want to give yourself at least, so this is a 5-month time. You want to add another month because you don't know, shit might go down, your computer might break or something like that. So you want 6 months at least to prepare to get your print book for this convention. So you want to plan way, way, way in ahead when you're doing something like a print collection. If it's digital, you don't have this, the stressors are not as great in terms of time. But so that's how you work through your timeline. You start at the end, then you work backwards, and you figure out how long you want, and then you maybe give yourself some extra buffer, because this is art we're talking about, this is computers we're talking about, and shit never goes the way you think it's going to go. And then you put all of these steps together and you've got yourself a nice smart goal. You want to write it down on a big chart, you want to put it in your room, and you want to look at it, and you want to check off all these steps that you're going through. And when you're done, we can use the ER part. We can evaluate the process, see if it was helpful. Did we achieve our goal? If we didn't achieve it, what can we change to achieve it better the next time? If we did achieve it, how can we streamline the process to make it less stressful, that kind of thing. And then we reevaluate, which is another step that I never actually studied, because when I learned about this stuff, it was just SMART goals. So there you have it. SMART goals for giving yourself a framework to achieve goals for your comic. So we use the example of a print edition. SMART goals could be as simple as, I want to update 3 times a week, and you give yourself a structure on how to achieve that. So SMART goals can be big things like a print collection. They could be small things like, I just want to get through the fucking day and update my comic. But it gives yourself a framework, steps to work through to actually achieve a goal, and it makes you feel better and feel awesome about yourself when you've actually done it, and then you can go on and do another thing. Now, you don't have to use this, of course you don't have to use this strategy when you're trying to achieve a thing. For some people, you don't need like a formalized structure to get through the day or to achieve a goal. But sometimes it helps to think about goals in a concrete manner, so that you can actually see how you're progressing, how you're going, things like that. So that's it for now. Hope this wasn't too boring. Hope some of you found it helpful, and I'll check you next time. Thanks for tuning in.